As you know me, my name is Darlene Weiss. I'm a functional medicine practitioner, a certified nutritionist, and a IAC certified colon hydrotherapist. I've been operating under living waters for a dozen years at this point in Grass Valley, California. And I always like to kind of joke that as I'm getting older, I'm getting younger. But it's true. You know, I struggled with health issues when I was in high school, and although it wasn't diagnosed, it could have been Crohn's disease. I wish it would have been sorted out then, but I had to go on my own journey with it. So the times we're at now is focusing with coronavirus. And I wanted to specifically focus this towards looking at what we can do in these kind of times. We're all kind of in shelter in place. And so I asked my friend and mentor, Louise Diaz, to come. And I'm going to read you his kind of biography so you can get an idea. But first, I want you to know that I would like you to save your questions for the end of the class. And I'm going to introduce Louise, and we'll go through his embodiment practice. But this is Louise Angel Diaz. And as I said before, he's changed my life with some of the tools that he's offered. I didn't even realize I needed them until I started kind of, you know, mostly through my ex-boyfriend. Through my relationship, I got real acquainted with some of his work, and it was really pivotal for me in my healing process. And so he is the creator of the CMR process. CMR stands for Cellular Memory Release, and he's the founder of CMR International. Louise Angel Diaz is the best-selling author of Memory in the Cells, How to Change Behavioral Patterns and Release the Pain Body. He's arguably one of the world's foremost authorities on emotional healing. Louise has been traveling as a teacher and a health practitioner for nearly 30 years, working with thousands of people internationally. A major shift occurred in his work at the age of 38. The shock and pain he experienced became a catalyst for a profound inner process in human discovery, wherein he discovered how layers of negative emotional charge accumulate and become stored inside our bodies. These blockages cause many body-mind chemical imbalances and challenges to our health and lives that prevent us from experiencing peace and well-being. Louise compiled his learning into a new set of techniques called Cellular Memory Release, which is the foundation of his book, Memory in the Cells. He has trained and educated thousands of people internationally, and both clients and practicing professionals have attested to the positive impact CMR has had upon their lives and the lives of others. And I'm one of those that can attest, which is why I asked him to be with us today. So thanks for jumping on board, Louise.
Thank you, Darlene. Thank you for doing this.
You know, earlier in the week, I have to admit, Monday, Tuesday, maybe Sunday night, I was just sad, you know, and I think it really just kind of hit me where I didn't want to move out of bed in the morning. It was like everything, it was like I was feeling all the sadness in the world, you know, thinking about all the people in the hospitals that are dying without their families. And I just kind of took that on as my own. And, you know, for 2 days, I felt like I kind of had to embody it, you know, and go through my process. And I integrated some of your tools, and it did help. But it was a big shift of energy. And so when I saw you this week, it's a part of what I integrated when I went through that, and more stuff kept coming up, and it took me back to part of my childhood. And I thought, you know, these are real gifts, Louise, and I would like you to share them. I know everybody is in some way struggling with some kind of grieving process as things are changing for us in the world we know. But the feelings of sadness and loneliness are a part of that process. So what would you say about that?
Well, we are human beings, and we are like cells in a body, the body of humanity. And what is happening at the level of humanity is affecting all of us. And cells have a process that has been discovered a couple of decades ago, how they expand, reproduce when they are healing, when they are doing the cleansing job, and they contract when they hide because there is danger. And usually the danger is in the form of fear, when cortisol or adrenaline is running through the bloodstream. And usually those contractions are what we feel in our bodies, in the form of physical contractions like pains, aches in the muscles and the joints, contractions in the organs when we feel those things in the belly, when we feel those contractions in the throat or in the heart area. So contractions actually are real stuff that we experience. And when we are contracted, like the cells, we hide and we stop being productive. We just go into sadness or fear, or we are angry or frustrated. And that creates that process of separation, that we feel alone and we feel abandoned or we feel rejected. So humanity has been expanding, taking over the whole planet, and now a contraction is happening. It's like waves, yes. And this is actually a natural thing. This is actually healthy. We are not supposed to be expanding all the time. Also, we are not supposed to be in contraction all the time, because when we are in contraction all the time is when we get sick, is when we start having chronic pains or illnesses. And what I'm trying to bring and disseminate is tools for people to actually create a flow of energy between the process of expansion and contraction that is supposed to be natural. Like, what is keeping us alive? The heart. And what is the heart? It's contracting and expanding, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And what is our diaphragm doing? It's expanding and contracting our lungs to allow us to breathe. So those two things are key for our whole system to function through expansion and contraction. How do we walk? Well, some muscles contract, some muscles expand. So when we feel negative emotions is when we feel contraction. And that's what we feel, all those sensations in the body, headaches, shakiness, we feel tired. And we have a problem that culturally we have been educated to demonize negative emotions. We've been told that negative emotions are bad, that we shouldn't feel them, that they are wrong, and if we feel them, we are wrong. Yeah, something's wrong with us, or someone else is to blame. But we never consider negative emotions like a natural thing. We don't have that concept in our programming. So when negative emotions come to us, like you're saying, well, I was feeling sad, or I was feeling anxious, or, well, they are they're supposed to be felt. They are supposed to flow through us instead of getting stuck in us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a vicious circle. When I resist negative emotions, they stay in us. They stay in me, and then a sadness that is supposed to move in 5 or 10 minutes stays for a whole day or a whole week or a whole month. The more I resist negative emotions, the more they persist. So I always say, learn from babies. Babies are masters in managing emotions. When they feel something, they feel it to the max. Yeah, they even exaggerate them. And 5 minutes later, they're feeling something different. Adults, because of the cultural programming that we have of demonizing negative emotions, we stay negative for a long time. sometimes for years. Yeah. So we are not designed to be storage places. We are designed to be recycling machines, because this whole universe is a big recycling machine. So we are part of the universe. So how do we recycle? Mhm. And you at the beginning, you mentioned my book that is actually, the title is how to transform our negative behavioral patterns and release the pain body. And the whole book is about recycling energies and setting in motion that recycling machine in us that allows us, like a baby, to move energies fast through us. And those of you that want the book, ask me. You can send me the email of the people that want the book. You can offer it, and I will send it to you for free. So you can actually go through it and go through several of the exercises. Today we are going to do one exercise just to have a taste of it, but there are several exercises. It's a very practical book.
It's a very practical book, and I want to say that book, I've read it a few times now, and it's nice. It's one of those books where if I do feel stuck and I have it around, sometimes I'll just pick it up and see where it takes me, and if it can help me process through going through. It's a good reference.
Yeah, many people use it that way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One time I was at the river, the Yuba, the 49, and I was just kind of, there by myself, and I pick up the book, and it was amazing, because that book talked about the birthing process and about what it's like to be a baby and to be born, and the separation caused at birth. And it just put me into some kind of lucid state. And then I jumped in the river, and I felt like I was rebirthed in that river experience by myself. And it was really magical.
Well, it was not the book, it was a river.
Maybe it was the combination. It felt like medicine.
Yeah.
But it's a great book, and it's very easy to read too.
So yeah. Those of you that are interested, request it, and I will send it for free.
Thank you, Louise. That's very kind.
Mm-hmm. So one more little thing, in so many teachings, they talk about the importance of acceptance. And how do I feel when I feel acceptance? When I feel acceptance from others, how do I feel? How do I feel when I feel acceptance for myself, self-acceptance? How do I feel? What happens in me? So think for a moment in those feelings. What happens in me when I experience acceptance? Because this is actually the door to recycling negative emotions, what I was mentioning before. For emotional transformation, we need to practice acceptance. Now, what does it mean? Well, it means that if I feel angry, the first thing I do is to accept that I feel angry, instead of saying, I'm okay, I'm fine, or smiling. That is the opposite. Yeah. If I feel anxious, if I feel afraid, the first step is accepting that I'm afraid. So it's like I just send a message to my body, it is okay to be afraid. Or, like the example that you gave, it is okay to be sad. That is actually what a baby does. A baby is not saying it's okay to be sad. The baby naturally does it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We come from the manufacturer ready to accept, and we accept our situation. Mm-hmm. And is acceptance actually what allows a baby to be a happy baby, even though they are wearing diapers, they don't have teeth, they cannot walk, they depend on someone else. Sometimes the household is very dysfunctional, and still the baby is happy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So because there is this amount of acceptance and self-acceptance. So if we practice acceptance now with ourselves, okay, we accept the fact that we had to be inside. And accepting doesn't mean I like it. Yeah? Acceptance means it is. It's the power of what is. So the key of emotional transformation is acceptance. Acceptance of self and acceptance of life. It doesn't require to like it. You may dislike very much what's going on, but fighting what is going on is going to create more problems.
I was kind of laughing when I was saying it took me 2 days to process, because I kept saying, no, it's Monday. I got things to do. I got to do, A, B, C, D. And I was fighting it, and I was trying to put on a smile and go on with my day. And that's why, and I know that's why it took me 2 days to shift, because
Yeah.
I'm just going to go on default and operate, and I'll get through, and I will. But until I accept where I'm at, only then can I really accept it.
Because our mind, that is an amazing device, our logical mind, it is programmed with viruses. It's programmed with a bunch of lies. So we've been conditioned to believe that emotions are a nuisance or are a problem or are a burden, or we shouldn't feel them, they are wrong. We should change them, we should pretend to feel differently. And that whole thing takes so much time and energy from us.
It's very draining.
It's very draining. It creates a lot of stress because we are pretending to be who we are not. And we are not doing the recycling process. We are not transforming anything. They're feeling in my belly, or I'm feeling in my head. My head is going to explode. I feel something in my jaw and in my jaws, or I'm shaking. I'm tired. I'm hot. I'm cold. Connect with the feelings and the sensations in the body.
Or headache.
That wakes up our emotional intelligence. That is part of the body's intelligence. And this is the problem. We don't have body intelligence. We have not developed our emotional intelligence in our culture. What we have is a lot of academic and rational intelligence. And we are very, very illiterate emotionally. So we need to give ourselves that piece that is missing. Yeah. And so hopefully today is a little piece of emotional education for you guys to start practicing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is something very quick. That is a process of connecting with the body that actually wakes up the body's intelligence. And it's amazing what happens when we start connecting with the body, because it starts waking up by itself and it guides us. It has its own tutorial. Yeah, it's like a program that you install and it guides you. So the more you connect with your body, the more guidance you're going to receive. Your intuition is going to wake up. Your creativity is going to wake up. You're going to feel more connected with life because you're more connected with yourself. So the best way to do this exercise is closing your eyes. But I understand if you don't want to do it. The problem is that when we don't have much practice doing this, we get distracted. Like, if you don't close your eyes, you're going to be looking what's going on in front of you. And what I want is your eyes to go inside, the process of introspection. So I'm going to also close my eyes because it helps me. And what I'm going to ask you is just to recognize for a moment that you have a body. And this very simple thing, it might take a while because we are not used to do that. So recognize that you are in a body, that you are this body. And just scan, like going from head to toe, scanning, noticing physical sensations. So you may start becoming more aware of the fabric touching the skin. But I want you to, without moving them, I want you to realize that you have legs, that there are legs there, that there are feet there. And just notice that inner sense, waking up the inner sensing of that you only know that kind of feeling or flavor of knowing that there is a foot there. And as you do that with your legs, just notice your hips. And you're gonna start notice probably that your hips are touching the seat that you are on. So there is weight, there is pressure. And notice that your hips are alive, that they are there, they exist. And do the same with your back, probably feeling the support of your back, but also notice the movement of the breath, the air coming in and out. Just notice how your chest is moving up and down when you breathe in and you breathe out. That, I'm saying you breathe in or you breathe out, but actually it's happening. It's just happening. There is an incredible intelligence that is allowing this process of breathing to happen for how long? 30, 40, 50, 60 years? And below your lungs, in between, you have your heart that is pumping also for all those decades, non-stop. Maybe you can even feel some of the palpitations. So this is just a simple process of recognition of what is always there, because these sensations never left you. This intelligence never left, is always there, it's silent while we go through life thinking, going through all sorts of things and projects and dramas and relationships. Our body is always there. And the intelligence that runs the body, that is incredibly magnificent, running thousands of functions at the same time, is always there. It never leaves. So just a recognition and appreciation, a sense of gratitude for this loyal friend that never leaves. And keep scanning, going up, just recognizing that there is a neck and there is a head. Just take some time to notice the masterpiece that you are inhabiting. And this is a basic process of being present and a process of embodiment. That if you are in a neutral state, if you are not feeling comfortable or uncomfortable, it's just a wonderful process just to Visit with yourself and recognize what you are, what is always there and will never leave. Now, if you are feeling negative, you may have sensations that are uncomfortable. So when you do your scanning, you may find tightness in your chest, or a ball in your throat, or butterflies in your belly, or contractions, aches, pains. Your head is heavy or achy. You feel weight in your shoulder, or some people describe images like, well, I feel like a knife is in my shoulder. I feel like a rock is in my chest, or a hand is grabbing my neck. You know, all those images help to connect with the discomfort of the negative emotion that you're feeling. If that's the case, remember the word acceptance. It's like someone knocks at the door, you open the door, you allow them to come in, and you invite them to have tea with you. Okay, so there is anger here. There is anxiety here. There is worry. There is grief. There is fear. Whatever you find, you welcome it. And just watch your mind getting uncomfortable, because your mind has been programmed to do the opposite. That is, run away from this. Don't feel it. It's wrong to feel it. So notice that and say to your mind, thank you, mind. I'm just doing an exercise. It's no big deal. And then you allow yourself to feel that. So if you feel like crying, you cry. If you feel like shaking, you shake. If you feel like you're angry, you can punch on a mattress, on a pillow. You can get a towel, twist it. You can bite it, because a lot of anger gets in our jaws. You groan it, you feel it. If you feel like screaming, you scream. And if you don't want to scream because there is someone next door, scream in your head. Imagine that you are screaming. Imagine that you are breaking things. Whatever your anger wants to do, imagine it and allow it in your imagination. And then you will see that slowly that wave, that intensity starts gradually going away, and you may feel more relaxed, because what happens when you contract something very much, if you contract a muscle or your hand or whatever is very contracted for a while, after you release it, it feels relaxing. Actually, physiotherapists teach people to contract the muscles to the max, so then they relax. So we're doing this with the emotional body. We're allowing the contraction to go to the max, and then see what happens. So this is the basic template, and you're gonna find this in my book. So when you get it, practice this and practice other exercises that come after this. There is a process that is called pain body release, that actually is to release layers of negative emotional charge that have been stuck in our bodies for a long time, sometimes our whole life. We have contractions from the belly inside our mother And it's easy to understand. You are inside a woman for 9 months. If she's having fear, if she's having um, situations of rejection or abandonment, sadness, if she loses someone she loves, or she's very angry, of course the baby is going to feel that. And the baby is going to register that. It's part of, it's like a fresh clay. Yeah, it's going to register that. So this is it. This is pretty much the template of going into the body, recognizing, scanning, allowing it, feeling it, and see what happens.
I think the first step is the hardest when it comes to some of this work, because I could speak from personal experience. I feel like I was shut down, and I had to figure out what my body was telling me. So it's a learning curve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People, we're so programmed in our own minds.
Well, we are not used to practice self-empathy.
Yeah.
We are not used to connect with our bodies.
Yeah.
We used to be outside.
Yeah.
I remember going to school. I was 5 years old when I went to school. I was in first grade. And I remember the teacher, knocking on the blackboard and say, attention, attention, attention. So just very young, we are taught to bring our attention outside. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment you go into some process of introspection as a kid, they would call you because what you're doing is wrong. So we got used to leave ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
find solutions always outside of us,
Mm-hmm.
and find resources outside of us.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, when things don't work out, what do? We blame.
Yeah.
We complain. We become victims because we are not used to connect with ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And that acceptance piece is huge too, because if we don't accept ourselves, then we're looking for that externally as well.
Yeah. Acceptance is key.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was wonderful. Thank you, Louise. Thanks for coming and showing up and sharing your gifts to this world.
Practice, practice, practice.
Yeah.
And get my book, practice from my book. In my book is my email.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a question, just send me an email.
Yeah. Do you want to give us your email or phone number? How can people get in touch with you if they want to reach out to you, maybe directly, or website?
Yeah, Luis Diaz is my whole name. That is right there on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Luis Diaz altogether at Cellular Memory altogether, cellularmemory.org.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thanks for showing up, Louise. I know you have another commitment in a few minutes, so I'll let you.
Yes.
Yeah, but I so appreciate you being here and sharing that. And
I don't know if there are questions. People have questions.
Hi.
Stephanie.
I really enjoyed that. Thank you for sharing, and thanks for hosting him, Darlene. So my question is, what about people who experience chronic disorders, like such as Lyme or any type of autoimmune condition, where they keep trying things, they keep trying new foods, diets, lifestyles, but there's still something that's not being addressed, or there's like nothing's working. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, doing this, it might change their symptoms big time. They can get a lot of relief. Maybe they won't heal completely. They will need other things. But the negative emotional charge of the uncertainty, the frustration, the sadness, the grief for losing your health, for losing your job, for losing relationship, for losing money. I mean, the amount of cortisol, the amount of adrenaline that this person is running through their veins is so huge. The contraction, the pain body is very big. So connecting with their body, releasing the negative emotions is going to be 50% of their relief, for sure. Yeah, if no more. And I apply this to all problems, to all diseases. People say, can you heal cancer? Well, that's not the goal to heal cancer. The goal is to feel better. Yeah. I mean, cancer can be healed or not. I know people that got healed and some people don't. But hey, you're gonna feel much better when you release your pain body.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, I do feel like emotional foundation is huge when it comes to your own healing path, and figuring out what can make you feel good, and what makes you feel good may be different than everybody else. And that takes a lot of courage. And that's been my path. And also gut health, you know. Any other questions for Louise? Okay. Well, I'll let you go for now, Louise, but maybe down the line we'll have you on again. That was so good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good evening.
Right. And I'll continue on. And
Darlene,
yeah.
could send us Louise's contact information.
Yeah.
I would like to get that book. It really resonated with me, what he was talking about. It's things that I've studied through the years anyway, but things he was saying just really had some distant memory in my head that it's like, oh yeah.
And I'm really happy you said that, Joe. I have considered many people and working with, but what I love about Luis is that he holds a really solid container for your process. He keeps it kind of light and fun, and he has a childlike energy. But he can really recognize the space that people need to process. I've had so many great breakthroughs just under his care, and he makes it simple. He makes it easy to digest, you know, and it's not so overwhelming and scary. So thanks, Joe. I'm glad you wanted more information. I'll text that to you later.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was good timing.
Good. I think so too. Thank you all for coming, and I'm around. So let me know if you need any more information.
Thank you. I'm also interested in Luis's contact info to get that book. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I can't say enough about that book. Yeah, I'm so happy that he offered it for free because I've read it a few times. Yeah. Thank you all.
Well, this whole meeting was quite a treat. You know, there was a lot of great information out of this for.
I'm so happy a few people showed up